Hello everyone. Our meet to fish this weekend is the Aphyosemion australe orange. One of the most popular, most quickly noticeable killifish out there. Whether you like killies or not, everybody knows what an australe orange looks like. This is a breeding pair in a 2.5 gallon aquarium. Pretty normal setup for me, except I've taken the Java moss out so they're a little easier to see. They got a sponge filter. They've got a mop. Hunter green's my favorite color. That's the color they get. And this is one of my better males. I originally got these australe orange. I got a dozen eggs from a fellow out in California almost 20 years ago. I'll put some pictures up of what they looked like back then, and you'll be amazed. They look just about identical to this guy right here. They've never been crossed out with other fish. I've always kept this same line going for just about 20 years. Very healthy. They're not prone to diseases, and they spawn giving a lot of eggs year in and year out. Beautiful fish. Now this is a 2.5 gallon tank. They can just as easily be kept in a 5. You can keep them in a 10, but for me that's a pretty big tank to just have a couple of fish in. I do have a pair in it. I have 2 pairs in a 10 gallon tank with a divider, which makes it roughly 2 5s. That works pretty well, only because I had a 10 gallon tank available. So the orange ones here, there's a variety of them out there, and I'll put pictures of the ones I've kept over the years. I think the original is now just called a chocolate. It doesn't have as much orange coloring. The Germans bred it to be much darker, and it became, and I'll butcher the German, Schwarzflassi, which I think just means dark, but that's a dark chocolate. Someone bred some of these orange ones without any spots, and that became an orange spotless. There's a couple of location codes. I think I've had one, which if I do, I'll put the picture up with what the location was. But that's the ones that I've had over the years. The only ones that I still have right now are these orange, because I just love them, and I've had them so many years, never crossed, that I just don't want to let them get away from me. Such a beautiful pair of fish. These are typical killifish. They love to jump. Mine get fed frozen bloodworms, live Daphnia, live adult Daphnia, live brine shrimp, baby brine shrimp, live adult brine shrimp. They love mosquito larvae. I try not to do that because I hate mosquitoes. Pretty much any live food they'll go for. They'll eat blackworms, but bear in mind it's not that big a fish, so blackworms is like one small worm and they're full. Neutral to slightly acid water. I keep mine at room temperature, meaning it's 70 to 76 degrees here in the basement. Gets a little cooler in the winter, but they do that just fine. Other than that, they jump. And if I didn't mention it before, like all killifish, they jump. So we'll take a look here and see if we have any eggs from this pair. Kind of figures as soon as I turn the camera off there for a minute, the female hops out. You'll see she's got quite a few spots. As they get older, they get a darker coloration. That's actually quite a bit of color for a female killifish. Still looks like bait, but looks good to him. I have quite a bit of video of them spawning, and I'll splice in some of that. I don't mind 2 pairs in a tank, but I don't like a group, particularly a group of males. I find that the males spend more time with each other than they will spend actually spawning with the females. The other element I find is when you have multiple pairs, that you'll think it's a group spawn, and it isn't. It's a male and a female spawning, and all the other ones you think are spawning behind them are eating the eggs. So for the most number of eggs, I put a pair in a small tank, feed them good, and pick the eggs out of the mop. They can either be water incubated, or you can put them, you can dry the mop itself, or you can put them on some peat or coconut core for 1 to 3 weeks, depending on your temperature and how far along the eggs are when you pick them. The fry are pretty small. A lot of people say you can start them with just baby brine shrimp. I try and give them some Aphyosemion or some vinegar eels. It's a little bit easier food for them to eat. They don't have to chase the brine shrimp, and they don't have to find a brine shrimp small enough they can actually eat it. So I'll add that in at the same time, and within 3 or 4 days they're doing the brine shrimp by themselves. They grow fairly rapidly. They'll start sexing out at about 1 inch. 2.5, 3 inches is a big fish. So at about 1 inch you can start sexing them out. The really nice tail finish like you see on this one doesn't show up till they get older. So, you know, if you get some fish from somebody and they're 6 months old and the fins are pretty but there's no elongations, that's because it's a 6-month-old fish. Just give it time and it'll develop right out for you. So now we'll go see if we've got any eggs. Eggs are small, but they show up pretty well in the green mop. There's a fresh one right there.